Okay, cool. Very good. Very good. So speaking of what we've been logging lately on the letterbox, what have you been watching? And would you recommend it?
Yeah, so like we talked about earlier, the BAFTAs came out and they announced their five movies of 2022, the five nominations rather. And the only one of the five I had not seen yet was Don't Look Up, the Adam McKay. And I said, "Huh, I guess it's time." And I pressed play on Netflix and I regretted every moment. Yeah, I didn't like this at all. It's as subtle as a sledgehammer. Pretty much, Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Lawrence play, let's say, like what astrologers, and they discover a comet heading straight towards Earth. It's going to bring destruction to Earth, but the whole movie plays it off like, yeah, people aren't really all that concerned. They go and talk to the president, who's played by Meryl Streep, and she's like, "Yeah, big deal. We'll wait to midterms to try to take care of it." They can't believe it. They go on this TV show, and the host is Kate Blanchett, and she's like, "Yeah, let's keep it light and fluffy," and this idea that the world is ending is not as big as um, Ariana Grande is playing a pop star in the movie. So the world ending is not as big as this pop star getting engaged on live on the show. So yeah, it's just a lot of frustration and uh, silliness. Like even like when you think the movie's over, like halfway into it, you're like, oh great, maybe they're finally gonna do it. It takes like a left hand turn, and Mark Rylance comes into the picture as like a uh, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk type, and he's like, "Oh, you shouldn't destroy the comet. We should actually wait for it to like come close to Earth, and then we can use some tools to mine it for money and like just to make money from this comet hitting Earth." And um, there's just very little redeemable about the movie. I think like it was supposed to be funny, but I didn't find it funny at all. Um, and then like everything is so you could predictable throughout the entire course of the movie that it doesn't seem like there's a swerve anywhere. Um, so I wouldn't recommend it. I think it was probably one of my least favorite films that I watched in all of 2022.
Wow.
Yeah.
21.
What was that?
You
21,
said
yes.
2022. I said
Well,
2021.
2022 is definitely the worst.
Okay, fair enough. Not that
uh,
many choices there.
yes, right.
Um,
But it was
okay.
really down there. John, I haven't had a chance to discuss this one with you too much.
Yeah, I don't have much to say. Like, I definitely didn't hate it as much as you did, or seems like a lot of other people. I think that like it's it's an easy target. I get what you're saying. It's not like subtle, but I don't think it was trying to be subtle. You know, I don't think any of his other movies have been subtle. It's sort of like you sort of know what you're getting going in, and it was exactly what I thought it was going to be, which was like an occasionally amusing, like not particularly surprising satire. And like yeah, it was okay. It was fine. I kind of forgot about it pretty quickly, but it didn't like offend me or anything like that. And it seems like a lot of people, maybe yourself included, were like really bothered by it. It's just to me, it was like too like nothing to get too worked up about. Like
John,
other movies bother me more.
how do you cast Kate Blanchett and Meryl Streep in a movie and don't have them in one scene together?
Well, there was a zillion people, and that didn't bother me. Like, I mean, that was your complaint with the Star Wars movies was like they don't spend enough time together. And I'm like, who cares if they're doing interesting things? Not that
They're
they were
not doing
doing particularly
interesting
interesting
things.
things, but it's like I didn't need to. My regret in that movie wasn't like, oh, I wish those two random characters spent more time together. Like, I didn't care about that much.
No, I get that, and I understand what you're saying. And he has played like both sides before. Certainly, his last movie was Vice, with the Dick Cheney movie, and
Right.
certainly he was trying to appeal or at least interest both sides. Um, and even the title of this movie is like, when you finally understand like why it is what it is, it's just like, goodness gracious, why?
I would say the only thing that I found like particularly the only thing that bothered me about like the story itself, and this is like a mild spoiler, but like that like the president's followers would at any point turn on her, to me seemed totally unrealistic. Even like when they can see the comet in the sky, I feel like in real life they're just like, no, like that's the George Soros is projecting that onto the sky. That's fake. That's not real. We still love you. Instead of saying like, hey, she's lying to us. We must turn on her now.
Right,
Like that to
you
me
think that they'd hold on to the bitter end until they were dust?
until they melted. Yeah,
Yeah.
like they're to me like, in real life there's no way they ever would have said, no, you're lying to us. Like they're, well, I'm going to be very elitist now, but they're too stupid to ever like admit like that they were wrong or that real life, is reality.
I hope we didn't insult the 10 Republican listeners we might have. Sorry.
Whatever. I don't care. I told you where you can find me.
No.
So
Obviously, we haven't been catering to you the whole time. So,
yeah, sorry. uh, what I really loved is Atlas Shrugged. But yeah, so what I've been watching, I started to do this